Hello, everyone. Everybody today is waiting for the much anticipated call between Trump and Putin. Personally, I do not expect anything earth shattering out of that since they're such BFFs. But NPR has posted a really good summary about the war in Ukraine and what are the wishes on each side. So it is a long article. I'll try to do a quick review for you, but like I said, this is on the NPR website. Pop over and look through. So Putin keeps saying that he will need guarantees that Ukraine would not use the pause in fighting to resupply its forces. Okay, what about you? Also, he keeps saying that he needs some kind of security, but he is not accepting that security provided by a third neutral party. What he wants, really what he's not saying, is that his own forces are in charge of monitoring the ceasefire. Do you see a problem with that? That's like having a fox monitoring a hen house. And of course, they want to retain basically their right to meddle in the affairs of Ukraine, even though Ukraine is a sovereign country. It wants to stay a sovereign country. So, they want no NATO membership for Ukraine. They want to end international sanctions against Russia. And they want to keep the territory they had invaded, regardless of what people of Ukraine think about it. Now, Ukraine had already agreed to the ceasefire, but, they have been pointing out Russia keeps stalling, keeps murdering Ukrainian civilians while this is going on, while all these negotiations, quote unquote, are going on, and it is still unclear what's in it for Ukraine. Like, look at Russia's demands and tell me, where are the positive sides for Ukraine in this? So, on Ukrainian side, what they want is an exchange of prisoners. One of them happens to be a family member of mine. A return of thousands of children, 11 or 12,000 of children by preliminary count, that Russia had kidnapped from Ukraine. They do not want to cede any territory. Look at this. Remember, I told you, maybe you should ask Ukrainians about what they think. Yes, they want peace. They want a ceasefire. But they don't want to live in a territory occupied by Russia. They don't want to surrender part of their sovereign territory to an invading country. All Ukrainians want, and it's very simple, give us back our people, give us back our children, give us back our land, and never come back. That's it. Simple. This should be obvious to anyone. This is not complicated. Russia is the problem. What Ukraine is asking for is nothing unreasonable. They just want to be left alone in their country to determine their own future. Why are people so outraged by this? Why are they calling Ukraine an aggressor? I do not understand. And again, to anybody who tells me, oh, you don't know anything about what's going on there, I grew up there, you fucking idiots. I grew up there. I lived in Ukraine until I was almost an adult. I came to the United States on a scholarship when I was 19. I grew up in Ukraine when it was still part of the Soviet Union. Throughout that time, the only aggressor we have known was Russia. The only concessions that were ever made were by non-Russian nationals. I was a mixed nationality child growing up in those conditions, and I tell you, that was a fucking trip. Because anybody who was not of Russian nationality was second class. And to add insult to injury, I wasn't just not fully Russian. Oh, no. My other nationalities were Ukrainian, Polish, and Jewish. Ooh, filthy. The bullying, I can't even tell you what that was like. And that permeated every single layer of our society. It wasn't just school bullying, no. It was like that at workplaces. My mother was bullied too because she was Jewish. My father only managed to keep his job because he was an impeccable worker and a highly skilled specialist, married to a woman who was Jewish. So don't tell me Ukraine is the aggressor. Meanwhile, this is in The Guardian. Okay? So we are talking about other options. Personally, for all the reasons I just listed, I don't see how this ceasefire conversation is going to succeed. So I'm glad plans are being made for alternative solutions. And yes, fuck the US. The US is no longer a reliable ally. We talked about this. So, more than 30 countries are getting involved in a coalition. It's right now spearheaded by the UK and France, which is fine. And they are working out their own plans, like I said, again, without the US, which is a huge embarrassment for the US, to see what they can do. Now, here's a very important point made by Keir Starmer's spokesperson. So you know that thing where Russia says, well, Ukraine can't invite another country to help it out. They have to ask permission from Russia. Does everybody remember the part where Russia engaged North Korean troops without asking Ukraine or anybody else? So how's that working? Why is Russia okay to bring in foreign troops without asking, but Ukraine is not allowed to bring troops onto its own territory? That is bullshit. Ukraine hit another oil refinery in Astrakhan region. Again, these forays, these precision strikes are getting to be farther and farther into Russian territory. And of course, in response, Russia went on and barraged Ukrainian civilians with drones. Remember, we talked about Odessa a couple of days ago, that the French are offering their protection to Odessa, which is the Black Sea port through which pretty much everything is flowing right now. All of Ukrainian exports. Well, it has been a target for a long time, including now. As the result of Russian strikes, 500 people in Odessa were left without power. Now, here's another thing. Russia keeps saying that they are advancing, but it cannot be verified by any other sources. And again, another stunningly embarrassing steps for the US. Trump administration is withdrawing from an international body formed to investigate responsibility for the invasion of Ukraine and hold Vladimir Putin and others accountable. What does that tell you? And remember, Putin is already wanted by the International Court for the kidnapping of Ukrainian children. Trump is a crook, siding with a crook.